Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanuvihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indra Vruddhashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now the Upanishad prescribes some sadhanam or the means which are conducive to preparing the mind for knowledge. So next mantra that we have selected says here, Satyena labhyaha tapasa hyesha atma samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam antah sharire jyotirmayo hi shubhraha yam pashyanti yateha kshina doshaha. Good, good. Satyena labhya tapasa hi esha atma. Bhashyakara says satyadini bhikshoho samyak jnana sahakarini sadhanani. That when a seeker, bhikshu, means an aspirant, when he is striving for knowledge, oh, wait a minute. Samyak jnana sahakarini sadhanani. sadhana and the means which should be practiced along with pursuit of knowledge, which in fact become an aid for the taking place of the knowledge and also abidance in knowledge. We want knowledge as well as we want the nishtha, jnana nishtha, abidance in knowledge. Therefore, one practices this right from the beginning. Nivritti pradhanani sadhanani. The sadhanas or means are nivritti pradhanani, which primarily involve nivritti or the cessation of activity or withdrawal from activity. Because ultimately a total withdrawal of the mind has to take place. The mind must become completely inward looking, totally centered on the self, which means that the mind has to become totally inward. So these are sadhana, the means, which also help making the mind inward looking, meaning making the mind free from the habit of extrovertedness, either giving value to the worldly objects and achievements, that's why the mind runs out, or just a habit by which the mind runs out. And so, basically, we should make the mind free from the temptations, attractions, etc., that the mind has towards the objects. And that is how the mind is sort of withdrawn inward. Satyena anuta tyagena mrishavadana tyagena labhyah. Satyena, by speaking the truth. So speaking the truth is a very important means and mentioned first. So here Bhashyakara says Satyena, not so much as speaking the truth as giving up untruth. Anuruta tyagena. Meaning that we should have this vrata or a vow that I will not tell untruth, I will not tell a lie. Meaning that we are not obliged to speak truth. If you have to speak, then of course you should speak truth. But there is no need that you have to speak truth, you can keep quiet. But if you decide to speak, then make sure that you speak what is truth. And why is it so emphasized? Why Satyam, truth, is so emphasized? Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Yoga Shastra also talks about the 5 values, Yama. Perhaps because there is a tendency to compromise with the truth. What is the greed which is in me, the temptations which are there in me. Very often those temptations may control me, that is when I am compelled as though to compromise my values. Therefore, in order for me to make sure that I speak truth, whatever benefits there are of speaking untruth. See, everybody loves truth because that is our nature. Nobody wants to tell a lie. Nobody wants to speak untruth because truth is loved by everybody. It's only out of compulsion that the person speaks untruth. Something with me compels, meaning that my natural tendency to speak truth in some way is controlled or compelled by some impulse from within, where something more valuable than the truth. So since in the life, we are born and raised with these values. So ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truthfulness are the values which are raised, and we understand what they are. But there are 2 sets of values in our life. One are the natural values. Natural means those values that are in keeping with my nature. And non-violence, truthfulness are the values in keeping with my nature, because that is the nature of the self. But then unfortunately, we also what they call acquired values. As we grow in the society, we find that other things are also valuable. The wealth also is valuable. A child doesn't know, but the child grows. He realizes how wealth is important, power is important, fame is important. His own father, other elders also are able to get things done because of money, because of power, because of fame, etc. And that's how child also feels that, yes, because that wealth, name, fame are important and sometimes need to compromise truth, and he sees people doing that. So acquired value, as we grow in our life, we also acquire value for name, fame, power, etc. So then when there is a conflict between these two values, natural value of truthfulness or honesty and the acquired value of name, fame, power, etc., then there is a conflict. Now, then the truth usually loses, because we do not find there is much to gain by speaking truth. Nobody gives you a certificate, nobody, gives a reward or anything like that. So apparently speaking truth does not seem to yield any result, whereas telling untruth right away gives result in terms of some material gain. Therefore, this value of truth and some material gain, they conflict. And very often the temptation for the material gain wins. That's how the truth, honesty, etc. are compromised. So, then unless we have a very strong value for truth, if truth is more valuable to me than wealth, etc., in Pujya Swami's book called The Value of Values, that not only should we know what the values are, but we should know how valuable they are to us. Because what do we stand to gain, let's say by being non-violent, by speaking truth, if that is not clear to me? There doesn't seem to be any material gain by following these values. Whereas telling a lie conveniently, there may be an immediate reward. And therefore these values suffer, honesty, truthfulness, because we do not know their values. So we should know what is value of speaking truth. What happens when I compromise truth? How when I compromise truth, how it goes against my own nature. And that's why there is in my mind a conflict. But I know that I have done something wrong and there is guilt feeling, a conflict, which I may not care, I may brush aside. Again, I tell a little small lie, a little conflict, small lie, a little conflict, a little, because for convenience, if I speak truth, then, it's very inconvenient because then they will know what's going on here and I want to keep it to me. I don't always want everybody to know everything, and therefore things are not always convenient. And therefore we very often tell little lies here and there, not a big deal. We are not liars by nature, but so this is how it builds up. When a small lie also is told, then it creates a sense of guilt, and there's a little pinch, little assault. It all adds up and adds up and adds up. So the example that I give is this young man. He has a motorbike. And in India there are all these so-called speed breakers. which our Swami used to call backbreakers, you know. He is young, he doesn't care. He doesn't stop. The speed breaker is meant for you to slow down. He doesn't slow down. And every day in a city like Ahmedabad, there are 1,500 of these things. So he keeps jumping up and down, nothing happens. But then every time there is this jump, there is a little salt on my vertebra. And in course of time, when I become 45, one morning, I get a catch here. I think that I slept wrongly. I think that the bed is not right. This is not right. In fact, what it is a build-up of all those small traumas adds up into this big trauma. Similarly also, all the little trauma of guilt which we have, they build up. That's why by the time the fellow is 45, he is depressed. Mid-age crisis, because all these things add up. Anyway, the point is that we do not know the price that we have to pay by compromise. If you recognize that the material gain by compromising truth is not as much as the spiritual loss which is there, inner loss which is there. When I recognize this, then I will not sacrifice the inner gain for the sake of outer gain. So thus, for any value, including satyam, the truth, we should know the value of values. How truth is valuable to me, because it is in keeping with my nature. So when there is truth, when I speak truth, there is harmony within my mind. There is peace in my mind. And of all the values, Upanishad here says, Satyena Labhya. Next time in the case says, Satyameva Jayate. We have not taken that mantra, but that very famous statement, Satyameva Jayate. Truth alone wins. Says that Nanrutam, untruth never wins. That comes from this Upanishad, which is a motto in these currency notes in India, Satyameva Jayate. Satyena Labhya Tapasa Esh Atma. Tapasa by austerity. Austerity can be a self-imposed a self-denial, a willing self-denial for controlling my sense organs, like controlling my palate basically, or controlling other organs also. A vow or a firm commitment to control the sense organs so that they are kept in my limit. So there's got tapasarya here. Indriya man ekagrataya. Here says tapasarya means the ekagrata, the focus or a single pointedness of the mind and sense organs. Labhya esh atma, this atma can be attained by satya, the truthfulness, tapas, the austerity or penance. Then samyak jnane, brahmacharyena nityam, and the value is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya you can simply translate as self-control in every aspect, meaning that I must be always alert and I must make sure that what I do is within the limits that I have set for myself. Although brahmacharya means continence, but brahmacharya can also be recognized, understood as self-control, being alert and make sure that everything is within my boundaries. I do not cross the boundaries. Samyak jnanena, while pursuing samyak jnanam, the true knowledge. So satya, tapaha, brahmacharya, these are the values that are told while pursuing the knowledge. Then the jnanam becomes samyak jnanam. Then it becomes the true knowledge. knowledge in keeping with the self as it is. Antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubhra yam pashyanti yatah kshinadoshaha yatah kshinadoshaha yatah monks or the aspirants, kshinadoshaha, those who have attenuated or those who have minimized the dosha or the blemishes. So these raga, dvesha, etc. are doshas or blemishes, or kama, krodha are the blemishes, and by practicing these values slowly and slowly, I have to overcome that. The saints for speaking truth, I must overcome the impulse of greed. For ahimsa, non-violence, I must control my anger. So I must control greed in order to be honest. I must control anger in order to be non-violent. And I must control the kama or my impulses for indulgence also in order by viveka or by discrimination. Thus, this constant effort of following the value requires me to exercise control over my tendencies to indulge. Kshina doshaha. Thus, in course of time, these people become kshina doshaha. Those dosha or the blemishes, the ragadveshas, impulses, kshina, they slowly and slowly become attenuated. They become weaker and weaker. Antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubhra. So these values help make the mind inward looking. Anger, outward looking. Greed, outward looking. Indulgence, outward looking. When I control these, automatically the extrovertedness of the mind also is controlled and progressively mind becomes inward looking. Antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubhra. They see the self, they recognize the self, they know the self, the antasharira, which is within the body. Within the body means within the heart. Within the heart means within the mind. Within the mind is the very self. But as we have been saying, they always say antasharira in the body, in the heart, the space within the heart, in the mind that is located there, the consciousness gets reflected there. Jyotirmaya, one that is of the nature of Jyoti or light or consciousness, Shubhra, ever pure, Yam Pashyanti, Yataha, Kshina doshaha. So, Kshina doshaha, Yataha. Yataha, the aspirants. He says monks or sannyasis are renunciates. But Yataha, let us say Yataha, those who are striving. Yatna means one, so yati means one who is striving constantly. So those who are striving sincerely in pursuit of knowledge, for them these values help them that the mind becomes slowly quiet, tranquil. The Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, Shama, Dama that we talked about happened because of this. Because we have to control our impulses in order to speak truth. You have to control impulses in order for brahmacharya, control impulses for the tapas or the penance, and the impulses are controlled and mind progress will become more and more tranquil, more inward looking. Antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubhra, the self that shines in my heart as aham, 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 as the very consciousness. Kshina yata pashyanti. Yatis or the aspirants whose doshas, whose defects or blemishes have been essentially removed, they see the self. Meaning that Atma is always shining and it is seen through the mirror of the mind. But as the mind, the mirror becomes clean and pure, naturally my darshan of myself also becomes pure. No separate effort is to be made for seeing me. seeing is always taking place. I always see myself through the mirror of the mind, and thus as the mind is purified, so also my darshanam, my vision, my knowledge also becomes clearer and clearer. So this looks like that simply by following values you have self-knowledge. Although it says samyak jnanena, you should pursue also the shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam along with that. Here Bhashyakara says, vakshati cha. That Upanishad will say later, this is for the Swamiji particularly, or Swamini, that na yeshu jihmam anutam na maya cha. Here Bhashyakara quotes a little statement from Prashnopanishad, which says, one in whom there is no crookedness, jihmam, anutam, one in which there is no falsehood, maya, in which there is no cheating or showing one thing and what is inside is different from what is outside. So Prashnopanishad says that one who is devoid of these defects, he gains the knowledge. So Bhashyakara quotes that statement in support of what is stated here, vakshati cha. And so it becomes very clear that the Bhashya of Prashnopanishad also is written by, there are questions, and somebody asked an interesting question. Or Hari Brahmendraనంద, he says, Swamiji, in what sequence the Bhashya is written? The sequence Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, etc., etc. But that is a traditional sequence in which we study, but is that the sequence in which Bhashyakara wrote Bhashya? Very difficult to know. But it is this one here says that looks like the Mundaka Bhashya is written before the Bhashya of Prashnopanishad, because it is Vakshati cha. Kshina dosha, kshina krodha, chitta malaha. Those who become free from, or in whose mind this has minimized, attenuated, minimized what? The malaha, the impurities of the nature of the krodha, etc., anger, etc. Nityam, this one word here, that this must be practiced constantly. The truth must be practiced constantly. Self-control practice constantly. Brahmacharya practice constantly. Pursuit of knowledge practice constantly. So this nityam, the last word in the first line is important, that is joins with all others. So na kadat kitkahi satyadi, it's not that now and then I speak truth, now and then I have brahmacharya, now and then, no. All the time speaking truth, all the time self-control, all the time controlling all my impulses, must take place all the time. Because mind being what it is, if we give it a little liberty, then it goes back to its old track. And therefore, to prevent the mind from going to old track or old, route, we have to always be alert and keep it in check. Then the next mantra, next page. कामान्यः कामयते मन्यमानः स कामभिर्जायते तत्र तत्र पर्याप्तकामस्य कृतात्मनस्तु यहैव सर्वे प्रविलीयन्ति कामाः. Mumukshu kama tyaga pradhanam sadhanam. For mumukshu, the giving up or discarding renunciation of kama, here kama stands for the objects of desire, that one must become free from the fascination of the objects. Because a desire arises on account of my fascination for a given object. To become free from desire, I should become free from that fascination. We cannot give up desire, understand? We have to give up the cause of desire. If the cause remains, then the effect is going to remain. So what causes desire? What causes then, why am I attached to something, attracted to something? So desire arises because I am attracted to something, because there is something valuable, and thus it is a habit of the mind to keep imposing values upon names and forms, objects of the world, which values they do not possess. I look upon something as a source of happiness, and that becomes an object, because happiness is what I love. I don't love an object for the sake of the object. What I love is happiness. But when I look upon something as a source of happiness, then my love for happiness becomes the love for this object. Meaning that we do not love something for the sake of that. We love anything for the sake of happiness. In Viditatmanananda this is stated in a different way. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Whatever is dear is because Atma is dear. Atma is happiness. And therefore, because happiness is dear to me, therefore anything becomes dear. So kamanya kamayate manyamanaha. Therefore, this kama, the desire, has to be analyzed. We cannot give up the desires, just give up the desires. Nobody can give up desire. Because desire does not arise seeking my permission. Otherwise I could put a sign in front of my door, desires have no entry. It's like putting a sign, thieves are not allowed. As the thief asking my permission. So desire does not ask my permission. It arises. And the other day we found, all these ants here. Now they don't come. So, that wrapper I give away right away. If the wrapper is here, then some sugar is, stuck there. And that is what attracts these ants. So you can brush aside ants as much as you want. They will keep on coming as long as the source is here. In order for you to have ants not come here, the only way is to give the cause of that. So these desires like ants. When I talk of desires, I remember an old experience in Ahmedabad, in some earlier place where I used to stay. So I used to walk up to the classroom and return also walking back. So walking back, I noticed that there was some, hutmans, not far away, and there were a lot of children playing. So one day I told children, say Hari Om. He said, Hari Om. Then they all followed me. Then I said, why are they following me? I realized that they expect something. They expect some prasad. So then every day I will bring something. I'll go up, get whatever I have. It may be some little piece of sweet or whatever. Give them. They will all line up. So then somebody would say, give me for my brother. Why? Because he has gone to school. For my sister, she is not here. And last one, please give me the whole thing, So what, give me the whole box. So like this went on. One afternoon when I was resting, at about 2:30 in the afternoon, the bell rang. which nobody would ever do because everybody knew that Swamiji is resting at this time and the bell rang and I was a little upset. A little angry. I opened the door and I found a little urchin there, a little one. What can you do to him? Why are you here? Swamiji, Prasad. I gave you the morning, but I was not there. As though it is his right, you know. So I gave him a candy. I said, don't tell anybody that you got this candy. After 5 minutes, bell rings. Again I get up, open, other fellow. I said, what do you want? Prasad. But I gave you this morning. But you gave me only this piece of sugar. I didn't get candy. And like this one, I tell him not to tell him, but he'll definitely tell somebody, other fellow. And that's how one by one, the whole afternoon we had a series of little children. Ring the bell. This is how the desires are. When that one desire gets fulfilled, it tells other fellow that this Swami is pliable. And therefore you go, he'll ultimately satisfy you. So you satisfy one desire, it invites another desire in its wake, and third, and that's how a series of desires keep on coming. Kamanya, kamayate, manyamana. So here at this point, Upanishad has taken kamaha, kamatyaga. So giving up the desire as a primary or important means of knowledge. This kama or the desire keeps the mind focused upon the object of desire. Meaning that desire makes the mind look outward, makes the mind extrovert. And therefore, even in Bhagavad Gita also, while describing a wise person, Lord Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. He partha, when one gives up all the desires arising in mind, that is when he can be called a man of abiding wisdom. Desire. So when one gives up, well, nobody can give up. Even the Lord Krishna says, you cannot give up desire. He said, because desire does not seek my permission. What can I do? I can give the cause of desire. What is the cause of desire? The value that I impart to something. Something is valuable to me. Something gives me happiness, something gives me peace, something gives me security, something gives me a sense of well-being. I love happiness, security, well-being, and therefore what I look upon as a source of that becomes an object of desire. So in order to become free from desire, I must make my mind see that the value that you are giving to that entity, in fact, doesn't have. Hey mind, nothing can give you happiness, nothing can give you security, nothing can give you peace because that's your own nature. Unfortunately, the mind, you concluded that happiness is out there, and that has become your habit of always seeking happiness. So we have to educate the mind by making the mind see that the desire has no basis other than aviveka, other than wrong understanding. It's the wrong understanding about something that creates attraction for that, fascination for that, and that is how my mind wants it. Not that anything has really an inherent value of giving me anything, any happiness or security. Is I of my mind superimposes happiness, superimposes security, superimposes something desirable in that, and then it wants it. Therefore, the only way to deal with the desire is to ask the mind, this is the desire, you have desire for that object, what do you expect by fulfilling the desire? I expect happiness. Then I have to show the mind that entity does not have happiness. if this has happiness, this would be wonderful. Then all you need is store lots of these parts of us. Whatever object I think gives me happiness, all we need is to store them. And you need happiness, you go to that. If it's candy, for example, chocolate, that gives me happiness, a whole stock of that, feel a little bored, go there. But then chocolate also, how many can you eat? 1, 2, 3, that's all. Then the law of diminishing return. Every following chocolate gives you less satisfaction. I used to talk about Rasgulla, because in the hostels, young people, these college students, they bet. And they say, who eats more Rasgulla? If you eat more than 25, then for every Rasgulla we'll give 1 rupee for more than 25. And they say, I'll eat 35. 36 Rasgulla all come out, because it loses the value. It is called the law of diminishing return. Every following Rasgulla has reduced happiness. Ultimately, the time comes that Rasgulla becomes source of misery. All of this enables me to understand that there is no happiness in Rasgulla. But Swami, I do feel happy. Who says there is no happiness? When I eat Rasgulla, I enjoy it. You enjoy because you think there is something in Rasgulla, then everybody should enjoy. There are some people who don't touch it. But Swami, Pratyek Bodhananda, he won't eat all these sweets. He always bhajia, he wants something spicy. So whenever a bhiksha would come, automatically all sweets would come to my side, all spicy stuff goes to him. He didn't care for any sweet. Our Pujya Swami didn't care for sweets, that was the time. He would give it, if you are sitting beside him, he will give it to you. That's how brahmacharis were there. For all these extra food, in his plate, he just pass on. But that is one thing. But in fact, this is what will help our mind understand that nothing in the universe inherently carries happiness or security or anything. Because a mind, that is your own nature. And what you are seeking is your own nature, you can never find it. But I find it, Swamiji. Who says there is no happiness in Rasgulla? I find it. As I just said, if that was the nature, then every Rasgulla should give happiness. It doesn't. That means I am superimposing something, not that it is inherently there. So thus, every time the mind seeks something, it is one thing that you willingly want to do something. It's other thing that your mind is controlled by an impulse and that makes you do something. No, that cannot be accepted. We cannot accept our mind to be controlled by an impulse. I must be in charge of my mind. I must be in control of my mind. And mind does what I want it to do. Nothing more, certainly less, but certainly not more. So this is how the karma, and we generally give it, say, start with one organ, one sense organ. And that is called tongue or palate. This tongue does two things. One is palate enjoys the food, and second is talking. So just start with one organ, namely tongue, and exercise discipline or the boundaries with reference to these two functions of the tongue in speaking. So satyena labhyat tapasahesha atma is found. Lord Krishna says, anudvekaram vakyam satyam prehitam chayat. Says to Arjuna that whenever you say something, make sure that it does not disturb or perturb the other person. Udvega, we say things that perturb, disturb other people. Make sure that you don't do that. okay, Swamiji, I'll keep people happy. No. Satyam, what you say must be truthful. But Swamiji, truth is always bitter. People say truth is always bitter. No, truth also should be spoken in a pleasant manner. Anudvekana vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat. And so then what you say should be truthful, should be said in a pleasant way, should also be said only if necessary, hitam, if it is beneficial. Oh, Swami, you have followed these rules, but you need not follow rules with reference to your children, where you want to educate. So when you have responsibility, when you educate people, then the different rules may come. But in general, when we communicate with others, then we must make sure that what we speak is truthful. Not that even with others, even, if you want to educate them that you should tell a lie, no, but you may have to be sometimes firm. You may have to be unpleasant also sometimes. In the life, we may require unpleasant things also if it is your responsibility. But otherwise, other circumstances, you must make sure that you do not say that is unpleasant. Speak the truth also in a pleasant way. And only if it is beneficial, so don't speak. Anudvekanam vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat. Priyam, pleasantly, hitam, beneficial, satyam, truthful, and then also it does not perturb the other person. If you follow all these rules, then I think 80% of our talk will be gone. Which is good. Then what do? The organ of speech is given to you. Swadhyaya, Bhasanam. Lord Krishna says, then you recite, repeat your Bhagavad Gita slokas. Repeat a mantra, repeat the scriptures, repeat whatever you want. So engage your organ of speech in reciting something which is religious or spiritual. Here, the kama tyagaha is pradhanam, and giving up of kama, the desire. So that's what we are discussing also. The desire is a result of aviveka, meaning that imparting a value that an entity does not have. If we recognize anything for what it is, then you find that it does not have any inherent value for me. Nothing can give me security. Nothing can give me happiness. Nothing can give me comfort. No, Swamiji, my furniture gives me great comfort. My house gives me security. My wealth gives me this. That is okay, that's what we think. And I am not suggesting you give up all that stuff, but recognize that ultimately security and comfort, all of these we have to discover from ourselves. I am not saying that don't have your bank balance, have an insurance, have whatever you have. But ultimately we have to recognize that this sense of security, sense of well-being, all of that has to be discovered from our own self. Satyena vihatta. So, therefore, the kamanyah kamayate manjamanaha. So one, that is the verse that's the verse that we are doing. That one who covets the desirable things, by kama is meant here the object of desire, so one who keeps on coveting the desirable objects. Sakamabhir jayate tatra tatra. Manyamana, while brooding on the virtues of that object. Lord Krishna says that you keep on brooding about something, then attachment arises in you. Attachment then builds up into desire. Desire builds up into craving. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangasteshu vajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamat krodho vijayate. Very famous verses of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa, when we dwell upon something, we are brooding over something. Brooding with fondness, not just brooding, not just thinking. you have to think about a lot of things. That doesn't mean it will cause desire. But when we, with fondness, when we keep on brooding over something, that causes slowly and slowly liking and a desire. And if we do not arrest it, that desire will build up into craving. A point comes when it goes out of our control. Up to, when if you are aware of the process in our mind, then realize that slowly this desire is arising, there is temptation in mind. If I put a stop there, well and good. If I don't, then a point comes when it takes over my mind, meaning that I lose control over myself. So says there, manyamanaha, brooding over an object, when person desires the desirable objects, sa kamabhir sa jayate, he is definitely born. So what is that which makes me take another birth? When I depart from this body with any desires. Swami, everybody has desire, only wise person doesn't have desire. Which means that other than that, everybody has to be born because that desire comes at the end, and that's what determines what my next destination is. I don't worry about it. I don't care. Next birth, I don't care. Last thought, don't bother about this. But what I'm saying is that right now we have to make sure that what happens towards the end also is something desirable. But then sakamavir jayate tatra tatra. When you depart from this body with desires, then the next birth takes place according to the objects of desire. In the midst of desirable objects, he is born. Now, this is said to discourage us from desire or to create in us value for what the next line says, paryapta kamasya krutatmanastu. That is important for us. But one who has got his wishes fulfilled, krutatmanaha, and one who has this knowledge of the self. Swami, paryapta kamasya, one whose wishes are fulfilled. How can it be? Nobody can have their wishes fulfilled. How will you fulfill your wish? By recognizing only by self-knowledge that our wishes will be fulfilled. Soshnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipaschita iti, says Taittiriya Upanishad, that the wise person experiences as though the result of all the desires simultaneously, because recognizing oneself as Ananda Swarupa, or full or whole. So paryapta kamasya. Only the desires are all satisfied, not that desires are satisfied. Whereas discover the Atma which is whole and complete, therefore there can be no desire with wholeness or completeness. Krutatmanaha, for one who is krutatma, krutakritya, one who feels a total sense of fulfillment or satisfaction in life. Yaheva sarve praviliyanti kamaha, all the desires, they completely vanish even here itself. In short, one who gains the knowledge of self, his desires vanish. Only way, therefore, to become free from desire totally is self-knowledge. Why this? What is self-knowledge? Discovering that I am whole or complete. And there cannot be desire. Desire is there. Desire is an expression of lack or want. When I discover myself as whole and complete being, there cannot be lack or want. And therefore, the self-knowledge is the ultimate means of becoming free from desire. Until then, self-control becomes a viveka, becomes a mean. Desire arises, I subject that to viveka. Viveka means what? Discernment. Hey mind, what do you expect to fulfill by fulfilling this desire? The desire is because you are imparting value to something which doesn't have, etc. So that's how when we do the viveka or this kind of deliberation, we can make the mind again free from its impulse, towards something. Ultimately, one has to gain. But here it says that thus slowly and slowly overcoming desires becomes a means of self-knowledge. So earlier Satya was stated as a means of knowledge. Here, becoming free from desires, and that we can do by Viveka, as I said, constantly having the mind all the time discriminate. Moment mind wants something, then we address the mind. What do you expect by fulfilling that desire? Does that entity really have any inherent value, etc.? And that's how by Viveka we can make the mind free from desire. Desire is the result of aviveka, not seeing what is there, and we make the mind see, or seeing what is not there rather. Iheva sarve praviliyanti kamaha kritatmanah paryapta kamasya. So one who has thus gained self-knowledge, here itself, in this body itself, all the desires depart, all the desires vanish. Because knowledge means discovering one's wholeness, and there cannot be desire, because desire is the result of the lack or want, which completely vanishes. See, this lack and want, that feeling is not our essential nature. The sense of lack or want, that feeling is unnatural. It's not the nature of Atma, although we feel that I am lacking, wanting. I am not. The Atma is not. That mind is because of lack of discrimination, and therefore, ultimately, desire is something that is not inherent, something that is incidental. This kama or desire is the result of aviveka, non-discrimination, not properly recognizing or understanding things for what they are. So every time bring the understanding into play. What Vedanta teaches about the realities of life, bring them into play. And thus deal with the desire with viveka. That will lead to knowledge of the self which is free from desire. Yaheva sarve, when you recognize yourself, the fullness or wholeness of the self, Yaheva sarve praviliyanti kama. Here, while you're in this body, all the desires, they vanish. So this is called the freedom while you are here. Meaning that desire also is one lakshana or chinha, or one criterion for showing the bondage. That we'll see, we haven't selected that mantra, but it says very clearly that one for him all the desires have left. Prajahati yada kaman, as Bhagavad Gita also says. When all the desires leave, desire is generally therefore, say it is the sign of ignorance, sign of aviveka. In wake of the knowledge, with viveka, the desires are not placed there. Iheva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. Here in this body itself, all the desires vanish. Because desire is something which is not natural. Desire is not the nature of the body, not nature of the self. And therefore, when we subject them first to viveka and then to knowledge, by viveka you minimize them, with knowledge they will completely vanish. Kama yasya rudishritaha. Yeah, right. In Kathopanishad, and here also, yada sarve pramuchyante kama yasya rudishritaha. Athamartyo amruto bhavati atra brahma samashnute. Says Kathopanishad, yada sarve pramuchyante kama yasya rudishritaha. All these kamas which are abiding in the heart, when they all disappear in the wake of wholeness or completeness by self-knowledge, then this person becomes immortal. Here, who thought he was mortal, becomes immortal. Same thing here also, eheva sarve praviliyanti kama. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः।